Diddy is being sent to prison, and this time, not even the mafia is on his side. Former mafia bosses have come forward saying that Diddy will be targeted for the way he's treated women, and that his time behind bars is going to be a living nightmare. Reports say he was attacked by inmates the last time he was in prison, and now he's terrified of what's coming. On top of that, the prison he's being sent to has already been decided. And allegedly, if everything goes according to Diddy's plan, he's hoping to be released in less than a year.
I mean, what this guy did is disgusting. I don't think there's a person alive, a man or a woman, especially women, who are not going to hate this guy. Whatever he did was completely disgusting. It's beyond criminal. I don't even know what it is. I look at it like he disgraced everybody. He disgraced the black race by being a black man. I know a lot of black people and they hate him for it because it painted a picture towards all of them. I think it's being followed all over the world. If he's not found guilty or he's cut free or he does a short amount of time, I mean, I can only imagine what the whole world would think. This is a disgusting country.
Diddy's 50-month sentence is being called a joke, and many believe the only reason he got off so lightly is because he's been cooperating with the feds. Suge Knight actually predicted this months ago, and now he says Diddy's treatment proves it. Diddy has deep connections within the government, and it looks like the information he handed over is finally paying off.
But that's always a great day for the family. Overall, though, it's not surprising. You know, we do all know one thing. Like I said before, Puffy has strong ties with the government, with the feds. And anybody else would have been cooked, done. I mean, that's the first time in history that a person going to get sentenced and they can actually put on a campaign like they're running for the president of the United States, where they can show videos and pretty much everything. Only thing I was waiting on was the fact that I was waiting on him to bring out the DJ and start playing music and let him do what he do best, dance and shake that ass and end up with no time. And the other side of it is that, well, the sad side of it is that I couldn't believe that not one of his baby mothers came in to support him or testify. And I was surprised by that because that shows a lot about the character. I still think it's fair that Puffy got less time because the other people who's involved in this case, other executives, other people, they didn't get punished at all. They walked away untouched. So in society, it's a fair side and it's a bullshit side.
There are even rumors that Diddy might be seeking a pardon, and Trump himself has confirmed that Diddy reached out to him about it. According to President Trump, Sean Diddy Combs personally asked him for a pardon.
Says Sean Diddy Combs has asked him for a pardon.
I have a lot of people have asked me for pardons. I call him Puff Daddy has asked me for a pardon.
Combs is serving a 4-year sentence in a New York City jail on 2 prostitution-related charges. Attorneys for Combs have not commented on President Trump's remarks.
Diddy is reportedly facing prostitution-related charges, though his attorneys have not commented on President Trump's remarks. What's interesting is that this isn't a new request. Diddy had been asking for a pardon even before his sentence was handed down. Sources claim the feds warned him about what was coming, and he started preparing long before it happened. According to his lawyer, Mark Agnello, Diddy even told his team to reach out to Trump directly and say, "I need a pardon."
When a senior White House official declined to comment on, quote, speculation and told us any decision on pardons would come from the president himself. Combs' attorney, Mark Agnello, said he has not talked to the Trump administration about it. You mean to tell me that you really have nothing to do with a possible pardon right now?
Nothing. I have nothing to do with a possible pardon.
What is Sean Combs saying about the possibility of the pardon?
I think he knows I'm not political. We've never discussed it other than I tell him what's in the news about it. But you know.
And what's his reaction? Does he laugh? Does he say, let's look into it? What does he say?
Go tell him that I need a pardon. Go tell him I deserve a pardon. That's what he said.
How are you preparing him?
So I tell him what the guidelines are, and the guidelines are about 2 or 3 years. And I tell him, the judge could go above the guidelines.
Do you have any regrets in how you tried this case?
It's a good question. Not really. Not really.
You called the relationship between Combs and Ventura a great modern love story. Ventura said she was raped, physically abused, and became addicted to drugs because of Combs.
I think that's what makes it. The we vehemently deny. And I know I respect that she said that. I don't think the jury concluded that happened. In terms of the drugs and the other stuff, I think that's what makes it a modern love story. I think she very much loved him, and I know he very much loved her.
Cassie Ventura's attorney told us that Agnifalo's description of the relationship is a, quote, complete disgrace and affront to survivors of domestic violence. Now, we covered a lot more in this interview. Agnifalo said that he talks to his client just about every single day. He told us that Combs is focused on his family and wants to one day get back into performing at Madison Square Garden. This interview was about an hour long. He also told us that Combs did want to testify. Obviously, he did.
Diddy's treatment of women is inexcusable, and it's clear he's going to have a rough time behind bars. The only thing that might work in his favor is his money. According to former mobster Michael Franzese, Diddy can use his wealth to buy friends on the inside. After all, Diddy is practically a billionaire, and with that kind of money, he can easily pay for protection.
His business is the enterprise, and the people that work for him were part of the conspiracy, so maybe they're unindicted co-conspirators and they got immunity because, like Michael said, on my indictment, it said the United States of America versus, and then there was 8 names. And we all conspired to commit crimes. Diddy's alone. Who did he conspire with? Did he conspire by himself? Did he extort people? Yes, he did. Did he kidnap people? He held them against his will? Yes, he did. He brought people across state lines, which is a federal offense. But to be a RICO just on him, it's hard for me to understand how that happens.
Yeah, and I do think that, listen, we got weeks and weeks left of just the prosecutor's case, but already we've seen one of the assistants who said he got immunity. And my feeling is that his second in command, Christina Coram, either she's going to plead the fifth or she's going to have been offered immunity or use immunity for her testimony. I do think you're right. It's kind of confusing without the conspirators, but my feeling is that right now, to get the testimony against the guy at the top, they may be offering them immunity. But like I said, we still have to find that out.
Speaking out about Diddy's RICO charges, Miles said it's likely that many of the other people involved in Diddy's parties were granted immunity in exchange for their cooperation. Diddy's second in command, Christina Coram, was reportedly the one responsible for sourcing the women Diddy was exploiting, yet she didn't face any charges. It's also been confirmed that at least 3 of the witnesses in Diddy's trial were given immunity.
But they didn't beat up and kill girls all the time. Do you see a big difference here with the kind of behavior Diddy's accused of doing compared to the behavior of mobsters?
Oh, absolutely. Let me say this. I always take the position, someone's innocent until proven guilty. That's just my position all the time. However, we have seen certain things. I think everybody has seen the hotel video where he was obviously beating her up. And the testimony has been absolutely despicable. And nobody in my former life would ever approve of something like that. And I think Anthony will vouch for that. We didn't beat up women. We didn't do things like that. We were taught to respect women in a big way, especially our families. So, in our life, if you violated another made man's wife, daughter, sister, mother, you're in a lot of trouble. So we didn't stand for that in any way, shape, or form. And like I said, the acts that are being described here are disgusting, despicable. If somebody like that was in our former life, he wouldn't last, quite honestly. So And again, I would love to hear, I believe that the defense is going to attack the RICO statute here. You said, possibly there are witnesses that have been given immunity. Not possibly, 100%. I mean, that's how government builds cases. They go after people, they get them to cooperate, and they give them immunity. So like Anthony said, there's probably several unindicted co-conspirators here that all decided, hey, we're not going to take the fall, we're going to cooperate, we're going to testify, and that's why they weren't indicted. So I would believe what Anthony said, that, they're going to use the theory that you said, that the whole, Bad Boy Records was a criminal enterprise. He was at the top of it. He used these other people to implement his criminal schemes, and that's how they charged him with RICO. But these acts are just, the real question is, how did this go on for 20 years? 20 years this was going on. A guy as high profile as that, and I've said this before, and nobody gets charged for it. It's allowed to continue for 20 years. There's no question that people knew that this was going on. There were high profile people involved. How does something like this go on for 20 years?
Even with all his money, there are still people who will come after Diddy. He harmed women, and that's not something inmates take lightly. During his sentencing, Diddy's lawyers told the judge that he had been attacked while at the Metropolitan Detention Center, but he hadn't reported it because he feared others might target him as well.
To come after him.
Yeah. Is he safe though? And you say something about him getting stabbed?
I was going to say, Diddy's team is saying no, he's not going to be safe, because in court, we found out that there was an attempt on Diddy's life, that there was a man that attempted to shank him, but they stopped it, the correctional officers. And they say Diddy didn't even want people to know that he didn't want to make it a big deal. But of course, they're having that conversation about will he be safe because of who he is and how high profile this case is.
Right.
They're also having a conversation. Mark Geragos is a high profile attorney, a friend of Diddy's, but also the dad of Teeny Geragos, who led Diddy's defense about Diddy potentially being in court. And we can and just attacks on his life, because they say that people look at him as like a trophy or a prize, and to do something to him.
Well, what if other inmates hear all of the stuff that we've been hearing in the news all of these weeks, and they scared of Diddy?
That's not how they presented it. I don't.
That's crazy to say Diddy's a trophy. Like, he's looked at as a trophy in jail is crazy.
Diddy's lawyers have also recommended a low security prison for him, one that offers a special drug rehab program. If everything goes according to plan, it's likely Diddy could serve only about a year. The program can reduce a sentence by a year for those who were struggling with drug addiction at the time of their crimes. However, it's possible he could be denied entry because of his history of violence.
I only have a little bit of time left. I got to switch gears real quick to Diddy. So he is asked to be sent to a low security prison out in New Jersey, for where he will serve his, prison term. 4 years, served already 1, so 3, maybe out in 2.5. Do you think he's going to get that request? Do you think he's going to serve it at this low security prison in New Jersey?
It seems like the logical place for him to go. I mean, you've got, based on all of the factors and everything else that goes into the Bureau of Prisons, when they get the file, so to speak, they get the PSR, which is the pre-sentence report. They have a certain criteria, and a lot of that criteria has to do with geographic location and then the severity of the sentence and the charges. All of that would tend to lean towards the placement at this New Jersey facility. So I would say on a bell curve, 80% shot.
And chances he has a successful appeal, either a new trial or the sentence being adjusted?
I've had this argument with his team and people not on the team, and I don't want to reveal the work product, but I will tell you my reaction to this sentence was that because the judge accepted the sentencing guidelines and then went under it, and he accepted the sentencing guidelines that probation said, which was 70 to 87, I think, but went underneath at 50, it makes the appeal on the sentence tougher. I still think there's a whale of an argument on the Mann Act itself as applied, that the idea of having a prostitute cross state lines in order to film them and not have, I don't think by any stretch of the imagination that's what the code section was designed to prevent.
The program directors also reject participants who show no remorse for their actions. According to Gene Deal, Diddy doesn't care about his victims. While he cried during his trial, those tears weren't about regret or the harm he caused. If he truly felt any remorse, he wouldn't have been engaging in reckless behavior, even on the day of his arrest. One social media user summed it up perfectly, saying, "He ain't crying because he's sorry, he's crying because he got caught."
Have you seen these sketches of Diddy crying in court after getting 50 months? Check your phone right quick.
Man, looking at these pictures, Diddy in court, the artist got him, looking at these pictures with Diddy in court, bruh, the artist got him crying. The artist got him holding his head. The artist got him dropping to his knees at the time of the verdict, crying on the chair. My heart goes out and it says, "Come and feed them beans." I can care less about his sadness. I can care less about him being in pain. I can care less about what he has to be faced with in court or in jail now. I don't have no remorseful feelings for him, bro. You understand? This is somebody that at one time I would have given my own life for. And to know this nigga was trying to get people to take my life because I was trying to teach them to be right by people and tell them to be right by people. I have no remorse for this dude, bruh. To see him like that, I know there is a God. And you can feel all the way you want to feel about me. You can say whatever you want to say about me. But karma is a mother. The judge gave him 50 months, but you got to realize he already had 14 months in it, practically. And he's going to get credit for 2 months of that 14 months. That give him 16 months. He's going to do 24 months, which is going to give him about 30 months because he only had to do 85% in the feds. And he goes to probably a halfway house. So he got off like a fat rat in a cheese factory. But for a dude like Diddy going to jail and spending all that time, I'm not saying it's going to be rough or nothing like that because his former president of Bad Boy, Kirk Burrows, with the federal jail. You understand? Lil' Kim with the federal jail. So, because the type of dude he is, he'll make it, he'll be all right. And plus they going to send him to a camp, bruh. He'll be in somebody's camp or somebody's dormitory, whereas that it'll be real light for him. So, he'll see the streets back again in 24 months. He'll be out within 2 years. It seems like a lot saying 50 months and everything like that, but it's not really a lot, not at all, bro. It's not a lot at all. You know what I'm saying? I know for executive, somebody who's been
Even if Diddy was cooperating with the feds, it's still shocking that his actions were allowed to continue for so long. The authorities knew what was happening and how many victims he was creating, yet they did nothing to intervene. Diddy was openly confessing to his crimes on live television, largely because he had immunity protecting him.
So you don't got no kind of sympathy for him, seeing them pictures, him crying and...
Bro, let me just tell you something, man. God is good. I don't have no sympathy. I never have sympathy for somebody who was trying to take me from mine. You understand? Was he thinking about when he was telling people to get at Big Gene, to do this to Big Gene? Was he thinking about what if them dudes would have did that? Would he been thinking about me? Nah, bruh. Would he broke down and start crying for me? Nah, bruh. I don't have no sympathy for him. To see him like that, I know God is good. And God showed him. He can make you, he can break you. And I'ma say it again. You might get flagged for this. I'm happier than a faggot in a barrel of dicks, bruh. Don't you see the smile on my face? Bruh, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I don't have no sympathy at all.
Everyone in the industry saw this coming from a mile away. First, Diddy wasn't indicted on anything truly serious, and then he received a sentence far below the federal guidelines. Now, there's even an official petition for his pardon. This case was never really about justice. The feds just wanted to send a message, cooperate, and we'll let you go. They demonstrated their power. But in the end, they let Diddy off surprisingly easy.
What we know now, the filth of his behavior, the absolute filth of his behavior when it came to how he treats women. One woman, absolutely. The others, so far, it's just an accusation. How will he fare behind bars?
Well, I have two scenarios. If the BOP buries him in like a Marion or the Supermax in Colorado, he'll do a terrible bid. But if he goes to, my opinion, if he goes to a regular federal prison, he's going to be fine because the kids there, the people there, he has a lot of money. He's still, he's in the music business. Everybody wants to be a hip hop artist. He's going to do fine in prison. He's going to do a good bit. He's got a ton of money, and he's going to do fine in prison unless the BOP buries him in a Supermax. That's the only way he's going to have issues. Other than that, I don't think he's going to have a problem with a certain group of people. Maybe mob guys might shun him. I'm sure people might throw, innuendos at him. He might have a fight or two, but overall, I think he's going to do fine in there because of who he is and all his money. Just like Madoff did fine in there and all these other criminals.
Tell me why you think he would have a tougher time at a Supermax. What would be the difference, and what would that tougher time look like?
He'll be isolated. You get an hour a day. He'll be locked in a cell 23 hours a day. He'll have no rep. He'll have no contact to the outside world. He'll have nobody to talk to. He'll be just alone, isolated. And that's hard on a person to be isolated like that.
But you know what? Maybe if you got a target on your back because of the way you allegedly used women as punching bags for 20 years, maybe it would be better to be isolated than the alternative.
Diddy might believe he can buy his way out of everything, but money won't protect him forever. The streets, the feds, and even the mob are all watching. His 50-month sentence is already being called a cover-up, and if the rumors about a pardon are true, this story is far from over. If Diddy walks free, the big question everyone will be asking is who helped him and who's next.
But what's really puzzling here is it seems that most of these witnesses were given immunity. So some of them might be unindicted co-conspirators that would make up the enterprise along with Diddy. It's just that they agreed to cooperate and they're not indicted. I mean, that's my take on it so far.
That's a really good point, Sammy. Jump on that, because Bana was the third person by my count to be given immunity for her testimony. And each of those three that got up there, they all said they did not want to be there. They did not want to be a part of this. They weren't looking to put Diddy away. They just didn't want anything to do with him. Do you think that jurors see that? Do you think they see immunity as something that's really important?
No, I agree with Michael 100%. They all got immunity because they're cooperating. They're all part of the enterprise, and that's exactly what happens. When I cooperated, I was part of the enterprise, and I was cooperating, and nothing that I said could be used against me, and that's exactly what's happening here. Same exact thing.